So
if you want to do that, that's fine.
Okay, and if you're saying that's a thing you're taking on, that's a one-way street.
No, stop calling it a one-way street.
You're describing it as one.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are, because you're not
entering a relationship that is both two-way.
Relationship. What you're talking about is the time you're investing.
Not exclusively, no.
Yeah, or the stress. What else is there besides the time and the stress? What else?
I don't know. The moral obligation to be there in a dependable fashion. I don't know. Isn't that
part of the stress?
Yeah.
Isn't that part of the time?
Right.
Like, how do you take on a moral obligation for somebody without spending time and stressing about it?
Right.
How do you do that?
That's an acquisition. That's an acquisition. That's an acquisition of responsibility.
Right.
That's what I said. And
if you're the only one who does that, then it's a one-way transaction.
So now that you're both doing it,
But if you both do it, then you're giving and taking.
I get that. How many times are you going to say it? The fact is, you're still there.
Every fucking time you.
But the fact is, you're still there.
Every time you characterize it as one way, I'm going to say.
You're boring me to death. You're boring me to death.
Of course, because you're repeating.
Just because it's a two-way street, that doesn't mean your one way that you're giving doesn't count or it disappears. It's an acquisition of responsibility. It's an acquisition of
doesn't disappear.
It's an acquisition of responsibility.
The part you take. The part
if you don't get that, don't worry about it.
There are things that you had to do previously that she did for you. That's
Thank you. Thanks for clarifying that to me.
That's where she frees up your time.
Yeah. Okay.
Now you have a thing that you don't have to spend time on, and you don't have to
talking about time
because she already did it. It's already done.
Not talking about time.
Yes, we're talking about.
All right, do me a favor.
Time and stress.
Do me a favor. Stop.
Investing your time and stress.
You've said this about 8 billion times.
I know, but you're repeating it again. You're saying it's not about.
You're the only one repeating yourself.
Every time you say it's not about time, we're going to talk about
repeating what we don't agree on. That's
every single time. If it's not time or stress, what is it?
It is time and stress.
Then stop saying it's not that.
But that's not really my point. My point is you've entered an agreement. That's an acquisition.
And
I don't care how wonderfully it works.
Do you remember what I said the last 20 times you said that?
I don't care what you said.
So you're just being dishonest.
No, I'm being very honest. I don't care what you say.
Yeah, so you're being dishonest.
No, I'm being very honest. You're repeating yourself. You're not getting my point.
You're pretending to have a conversation, but you're not.
You're not getting the nuance of my point.
And you're not hearing anything. You're just saying things. You're pretending like you're actually talking to me, but you're not. You're just talking to yourself.
Keep describing it the way you need to. Go ahead.
You're admitting it yourself. You're being dishonest as fuck.
I know. Keep describing it the way you need to.
Admitted that you're not listening to what I'm saying.
No, I didn't say that. I said I'm not agreeing with you.
No fucking clue what I said. No clue.
No, I've only heard it 30 times. I have no clue.
But you still have no. Then tell me what it is.
Tell you what is.
Oh, yeah, you forgot.
What your position is?
No, my response to the statement you just made 20 seconds ago. I don't even know what you said.
When you're
not even paying attention to your own statements.
Really? When you enter it, I'll try it for you, okay, Dopey? When you enter a relationship, that is a further acquisition of responsibility.
And
if you can't agree with that,
and what is my response?
If you don't agree with that, there's something wrong.
What is my response to that? Do you know?
Don't care. I've heard it 30 times, and I told you I don't care.
What is my response to that?
I just told you I don't care. I've heard it 30 times, and I don't agree.
Why did you bring it up again, then?
Why did I bring what up again? You're calling me dishonest. I'm telling you, I've heard what you said. 30 times. I don't get what you're saying.
Dishonest as fuck. You're having a one-way conversation
You
because
don't
you're
know
being
what in that position of responsibility
no
is. You
way.
can't
Just be a
acknowledge
dick.
that.
All you're being right now is a dick because you said something stupid, you got proved wrong, and now you were trying to save
Again, that's the way your brain works. You need to hear yourself say that.
right. I like the truth. That's how my brain
You
works.
need
Yeah.
to hear yourself say that. It's sad.
Facts and truth, right?
It's
I don't
fucking
need to hear
sad.
it. You're the one. You're the one who's going down this path. Apparently, you need to hear it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what do you think's gonna happen when you're in a room with people and you say fucking something stupid? Somebody's gonna go, "That was stupid."
Outbound. I had enough of you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
I can tell
you ran out of arguments when you went back to the beginning and didn't
that's what I'm waiting for you to disprove.
You reply to what I said and you went back to the beginning that I already replied to. I could tell you were done.
No, you're an asshole. I'm only going back to it.
Asshole.
I'm going back to it. I'm going back to it because you haven't disproved it yet.
You don't care what I say. Of course I'm going to be an asshole to you. You're being a fucking dick first.
Yeah.
You're being the shit right now.
Everything you said hasn't disproved a simple statement I make. That's why I go back to it. That's why I go back to it.
I said. You don't even know my argument. How can you say it didn't disprove it if you don't even know what it is?
Well, here's what it is. Here's what your argument is. You're in a relationship. It's a give and take. It's done on an equal basis, basically. Whether it's lopsided for a minute, it doesn't matter.
What's my argument? What's my response to the statement?
Therefore,
what's my response to the statement?
I'm trying to sum it up for you. I'm trying to sum it up. And
I don't want a summary of everything. I just want the one.
It's not going to take long. Another sentence. And therefore, that interaction. You just
derail the conversation and derail the conversation instead of staying on a path.
I can't even finish.
You know you're being a dick. You know you fucked up. So you're trying to
summarize your position.
Distract and derail. Answer the fucking question.
I said I'm trying to summarize your position.
I don't care about that. I don't care.
I thought you said I didn't know what you said.
You don't. You're not answering.
I'm trying to summarize
I want to know what I said in response to that statement. What did I say in response to that statement? What was my response?
This is what I'm telling you. And this is what I'm telling you.
You got it wrong. You didn't say it right. You said the wrong thing.
That the interaction cancels each other out, and you have further production increase, and you have a lot more of this and that. This has been your response.
Those first two things. Okay, so if you know that that's the response to your statement, and that causes a huge problem with your statement.
No, it doesn't.
How does it not? They're opposite.
You've entered in a relationship you were not in when you were single. That's an acquisition of responsibility.
Just repeated the same thing. And what's my response to that again?
If it's the same one, it doesn't work.
But you're not explaining why it doesn't work. You're just repeating the statement it debunks.
Because when you're part of a relationship like that, you have the responsibility of meeting your end of it. Something you didn't have, something that you did not have a minute ago when you were single.
You just said
something you didn't have when you were single.
That's the same statement in a different phrasing.
And I haven't disagreed with it yet. So what can I do?
You did when you described my response and you said you agreed with that.
Your response of the give and take and the canceling out doesn't cancel out. Doesn't cancel out the further acquisition of a responsibility of a relationship.
What?
The balancing out of the interaction between two people in a relationship does not cancel out the acquisition of that responsibility of that relationship.
Balancing out and canceling out are the same thing. You can't say it balances out but doesn't cancel out.
You've entered an arrangement that did not exist when you were single.
You think you can say a thing and then rephrase the exact same thing in a different way and say they don't equal each other. They're still the same thing.
Okay. Who are you responsible for when you're single?
Yourself.
Who's responsible for you when you're not single?
When you're married?
It's like we're going in circles. You're making a one-way thing again.
I don't know why you keep saying one way. It seems to fit your argument.
Every time you describe a one-way situation, I'm going to point out that it's a one-way situation.
Who are you responsible for as a single person? Yourself, right? Who are you
Who's
responsible
for you when you're married? Who's responsible for you when you're married?
Well, me and my wife.
Makes it easier, doesn't it?
I didn't say anything about making it easier. All I said was you've acquired a responsibility.
So when somebody helps you with your responsibilities, it doesn't make it easier.
I didn't say that. I said it does. That's not my point. I said you've entered an arrangement you were not in.
Your point is the opposite of that. Your point is that doesn't occur.
I'm saying when you entered that relationship.
That's your point. You're saying that does not occur.
I will tell you my point if you even care to argue against
You're just going to repeat the same fucking thing again. You've repeated
it. All right, so we're done. We're done. You're not getting it. We're done.
Repeating the same thing 1,000 times.
All right, we're done. We're done. I know. You need to do.
Talk about my response.
I know. If you don't get the last word, you're not happy.
A two-way street.
Okay. Yeah, right. One way, two way. I get it.
Talk about why it proves it wrong or why it doesn't prove it wrong. Talk about that. Don't just repeat the same thing again.
Well, if I repeat it as clearly as possible, and if you don't agree,
I don't want you to repeat it clearly. It was clear the first time.
All right. So if you don't agree, then that's the end of it.
Don't repeat it.
But don't walk away saying I'm being dishonest.
Drop it. We've already heard it. I've already replied to it. Now I want you to break down my reply. But you're not. You're just repeating your first statement.
Because it's very, if you can't grasp that you've taken on something, then don't worry about it.
I already said you took on something, but you also gave up something. Notice how I describe it two-way and you describe it one way.
No.
Again.
No, I'm not noticing that. No, stupid. That's not what I'm saying. When I say you take on something, you take on your responsibilities and hers as a union.
What did I just say?
That's something you didn't have when you were single.
What did I just say?
Who cares what you just said?
Exactly.
You either clarify it or you shut up. Either clarify it or don't ask me questions.
You're just stuck on repeat.
If you have something to say, say it. Don't ask me stupid questions.
I already did.
Then if you're done, shut up.
Over and over again.
If you're done, shut up.
You need to fucking write it down. Every time you talk about taking on responsibility, that's a one-way description. It's not a give and take.
No, you've taken on the responsibility of a relationship that works. That means you have to make sure that it's an even responsibility, an even interaction. That's what you've taken on.
Oh,
the responsibility of making it equal.
Before you didn't break even, but now you do.
Pardon? No, I didn't say anything about uneven. That's not my point. You've taken on the responsibility of this relationship, something you didn't have previous. And it doesn't zero out to nothing further added. Just because it works well.
Yeah, I've already responded to that. It actually is a decrease because of the added efficiency.
I understand all that.
No, you don't, because you keep saying the opposite.
I do.
You keep saying that there's an increase.
Black and white, like that's all there is.
You keep saying there's an increase. You can't agree when I say there's a decrease. And then right afterwards say there's an increase. You're contradicting yourself.
If you're going to just narrow it down to what the words you're using, yeah, it sounds like
I didn't narrow it down. You're the one who's only narrowing it.
You're chasing your dick for no fucking reason.
You're the only one narrowing it. Because when I say I say you give and you take. You keep saying you just give.
No, I never said that. You're such a fucking moron.
That's been your point from the very beginning.
No, I said you take on the responsibility of an equal interaction.
That's where you're giving.
An equal interaction.
Why do you think rephrasing something means I'm misrepresenting you? It's the same thing.
You've taken on the responsibility of it.
Giving your time and your concern to your wife is the same thing as taking on responsibilities or joining a relationship or any other way you phrase it. It's all the same thing. We're still talking about the same thing. You want to act like I'm saying something different than you are, and I'm not.
Oh, then why are we arguing?
You're the only one.
Why? Because you disagree with what I'm saying.
I'm explaining to you why you're wrong. I'm not sitting here just trying to have an argument like you are. You aren't hearing me. You're flat out telling me you won't listen. You're arguing. I'm discussing. You're dishonest. I'm honest. Do you understand?
Listen to your fucking dumbass. You look like a bitch.
Yeah. I make a great point.
You talk like a bitch.
Call me a dumbass.
You talk like a bitch. You talk like a bitch.
Well, she must be a pretty fucking smart bitch.
No, she's just ugly.
Ugly with a big brain.
I think
Horatio, you have.
I think we're talking past each other.
Horatio,
I'm not talking past you.
You're talking. With what I'm saying.
I already pointed that out. I tried
shut
to
up,
explain that.
Outbound. Shut up.
I said you're talking
Nobody's
about
arguing
stress.
with you. Nobody's arguing with you.
Talking about stress.
I'm not going to agree with you, so shut the fuck up.
There's added stress.
Nobody cares.
I will agree with the added stress.
Nobody
added
cares.
Responsibility? No.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
No added responsibility.
Thank you. Thank you.
Added stress.
Nana, what are you saying,
the only
Nana?
way there's added
Just talk
responsibility
over him, Nana.
is if it's not equal.
Nana, what are you saying?
I'm saying that you have your own responsibilities as well.
If you want to get involved in this, take over.
You already have those. That's not an increase. That's the same as before. You have your own responsibilities as well. You already had those before. That's not a change. That's not an increase. He's saying, no, I don't want to get married because it's an increase in responsibility. And it's only an increase.
I never said that. All I did was describe what it is. I didn't say anything about valuing it or dismissing it. I simply tried to offer a description
I had a recording so I could play back.
I don't give a fuck what you thought. I'm telling you what I meant.
You've said exactly that.
I'm telling you what I meant.
You've said it like 20 times now.
All right. So then why are you mischaracterizing it? I never said that.
You said it 20 times. Not only did you say it, it's your central thesis.
I'm describing the what you're doing. I didn't value it. I didn't put a value judgment on it.
Same thing. Exact same thing.
Giving a description of something is qualifying it or assigning a value to it. It is not.
Yes.
That's an abstract.
If you value something, or let's say that your valuation of it is poor, that's what makes it a negative thing for you. So it becomes a responsibility that's stressful.
No, wrong. Already you misstated it. You're in a very narrow understanding of what I'm saying.
Value it if you like it. If it's something you enjoy, it's not a responsibility. It's free time. It's fucking
free time. It's not. Why do you describe it as free time?
It's free time. It's sport. It's hobby.
It's not free time. It's not free time.
It's not responsibility. It's not work. It's not labor. It's fucking free time, sport, leisure. It's a good thing. If you like it, you value it, it's a good thing. If you don't value it, it's work.
You're lying. It's not free time. You're lying. It's something you enjoy. That doesn't make it free time. You disagree?
It's not free time. It's responsibility.
Well, you don't want to make it sound negative. The fact is, it's not free time. When your world consists of in a relationship, That is not free time. That's just something you want and enjoy.
And sometimes this enjoyment has its own limits, you know?
You won't be doing much inventing.
Yeah.
The enjoyment has its limits. That's what I was saying. If you don't value it that much, that's where it becomes a problem. That's the whole point.
Anybody
It's not about the added responsibility.
Anybody could have said that.
You don't like it.
Anybody
just don't like it.
Anybody could have said that. I'm not worried about whether you like it or not, or you want to be there, or you don't want to be there. That's nothing about what I'm saying.
You don't even know what you're saying.
I know exactly what I'm saying. If you caught it, you caught it. If you didn't, you didn't. I want to know if that fucking Senate race is over yet. It has to be, right? You just fucking ask the computer.
But both ways, like either you enjoy it or not, it's gonna be a responsibility by the end of the day, because you're gonna take care of your spouse, you're gonna take care of the children in the future. It depends, Joey. For fuck's sake, it depends on the individual themselves.
You also
think about it that way.
Exactly my point. That's my point. If you say that, you're assuming the other person is going to be a taker.
Yeah,
that's not a bad assumption, because that's how most people are. I don't even disagree with you. Okay, I was only trying to make the statement that, yeah, I agree. Nana's probably a taker. That's it. And he wants to argue, oh, no, it doesn't matter. It's always more responsibility. No, it's not.
Why wouldn't I be the giver while the guy is the taker?
More if they take more. It's only more if they take more.
Mm-hmm. No, I might be the giver.
I've had relationships with girls that I wasn't that interested in. I feel bad about it, but I've had some very short relationships where I wasn't that into them, and I was the taker.
Doesn't matter. Take, give, equal. You're taking on more responsibility. Don't mischaracterize my fucking position. Don't mischaracterize them. You don't get it.
When their life went wrong, I didn't help them. Like, I didn't take responsibility. I'm a taker, so I made them deal with it. So it's like, yeah, I didn't have an added responsibility. It's not automatic I'm going to have an added responsibility. I have to choose to take those on. I have to value it.
I told you that guys are takers more than girls.
No. That's not true.
Consider your own. No, honestly, this is what I'm seeing. Even
no, both.
The majority of the guys. No.
I told you I had a few short relationships. It was a very small part of my life, and it's because they were like, I wasn't attracted to them that much. They were like kind of like barely my type, right? That's why. But most of my life, I've been in relationships where the opposite was true, where I was with girls that were much more attractive, and they kept taking from me. I'm a giver. I really am. If I can develop, if I get to a point where I develop feelings for you and I do value my time with you a lot, then I'm going to be the giver. You're going to be able to take huge advantage of me. I'm a giver. It's just I had a few relationships where I wasn't, because I just wasn't that into them.
So my question too, what did they take from you? Other than affection and maybe how can I say this?
I don't want to talk. I'm not going into that.
No, honestly, like you're saying that they're taken, like you were a giver. Basically, what? Intimacy and feelings? Not even feelings. Not even affection. What? Physical attraction? What?
A little bit of both. Like
that's a
physical attraction is important, but the mental thing too. Like I like somebody who. I mean, I'm fucking weird. I don't watch TV. I don't go to the bar. I don't go out to movie. I don't really even watch that many movies. I like philosophy and politics and religion and current events and and I don't like to be around a lot of people, because most people they're just vapid. They're into things that I just don't give a fuck about. I want to have a garden and grow vegetables. I mean, I'm a nerd, so I have a hard time relating with girls, because all they care about is makeup and going to the movies or going out or dancing or watching their favorite show, or they want to put pretty things.
But that doesn't incline that you are a giver. Basically, if you're just listening to someone and giving them some of your time, because you're taking as well.
I didn't say that makes me a giver. You asked me.
You said it.
You asked me about why I was taking from those girls. You asked me about my take.
Yeah. Wait a second.
Hold on. You were asking about. Your question was about my take relationships, not my give ones.
No, I asked you about your giving relationship. You said you were in a longer relationships where you were giving. What did you give?
In my giving relationships, there was both an increase in a mental connection and a physical connection. Now, even those girls are not quite as nerdy as I am, but they were more so than standard girl in society. So there was a little bit of both for that.
Leffler, she changed her mind. She's not going to contest the electoral vote against Biden, all because of the riot.
Smart
all because of the riot that she saw. What'd you say? Yeah. What did you say? Smart girl? Did you say smart? That fucking woman was frighteningly robotic. What do you mean smart?
I'm just saying that decision was smart.
Yeah, well, don't call her a smart girl.
Okay, I'll concede to you on that note.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna argue.
And I know you were just being flip anyway. I just wasn't gonna let you get away with it.
Don't let me get away with that. That's fine. If only we could stop letting you get away with things now.
You mischaracterized my shit, and we don't agree. And I'm not unconfident of what I'm saying. I am not unconfident of what I'm saying.
You're just talking. I'm trying, because I rephrase it for I can't remember your exact verbiage every single time, so I rephrase it. I just say, but I'm saying, I'm like, you think it's a different thing. I'm just talking about the thing you're saying, the same thing. You're talking past me, and I'm not talking past you. I'm every time you think it's a different thing, ignore the phrase I used, whatever problem you have with it, insert your own. The point still stands.
Whatever.
You pick on little semantic things.
Oh my God, I do not.
You do.
You're
do this
the one that does that.
No, you are. You're the one who does that, and you don't realize it every time you're doing it.
You're the one that drags me down these rabbit holes.
It's like when I said the things were negative, and you're like, no, they're not negative. You want to debate the meaning of responsibility. This is something that people see as negative. It's positive to be a responsible person and take care of your responsibilities. But when it comes to your personal health, more responsibilities are not necessarily healthy for you. They're not, even if they're healthy, you could even argue they're healthy. Even if some are healthy, they're not something you necessarily enjoy. They're not something you enjoy in the moment. There's a negative aspect to it. And you want to fucking debate about that, and it's it's just semantics of what the word negative means, or what responsibility.
Listen.
Is the responsibility negative in one sense, or is it positive? Of course, responsibilities are positive and negative. They're positive and negative.
Motormouth, did you hear me not say that entering a good relationship is beneficial? That I agree with you. Did you not hear me say that? That I agree with everything you fucking said, but you're still taking on responsibility you didn't have.
That's the opposite of what I said.
No, I agree with.
Wait. See, you just rephrased it. Wait a minute. I spoke too soon. What you just said is true, but it's a description of one way on the street.
No.
You are taking on more responsibilities, but at the same time, if it's equal, you're giving some to her. So you're taking and you're giving at the same time.
Right. That does not cancel it out.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. I'm afraid not. That's where we disagree. It does not.
How does it not? How does it not?
In terms of time, but not in terms of the responsibility for it. Now, you still have to be there for her stuff and yours, and not even depend on her.
No.
Listen.
No.
All right, okay. You analyze it differently. I'm not going to go over it again.
Let's look. If you are,
we disagree. They don't cancel out. We already disagreed. There's no point going over it.
I don't know how you could disagree.
Well, because it's there as an addition. It doesn't get canceled out.
As an addition to you, and there's also things that you're giving that become an addition to her.
Which does not negate what you took on. It's still a new responsibility. If
I have to spend more time and stress more on your responsibilities, and then later you also spend time and stress more on my responsibilities, if we do that in equal portion of stress and time, we've evened out. Because the things you did for me, now I don't have to spend time and stress on them. They're already done. You did them.
All that. Right.
I've had a reduction in the time spent and a reduction in my stress. Now so now I'm actually down. But then the things I did for you were an increase in my time and stress. So now I'm back up to even. Now, if we then analyze, say we have a thing that's say we have something like rent that's both of our responsibility because we live together. We both spend time on it together. It gets done twice as efficiently. So now we both have a reduction at the same time.
I understand how all that works.
So your total aggregate. So anytime it's equal and you don't do it together, but you're both giving equally, you even out. Anytime you're doing it together, you're having a reduction. So overall, there's no increase. There's a reduction.
That's incomplete. I understand everything you said.
Not incomplete.
Yeah, it is.
What's the missing part?
The missing part is the acquisition of this relationship.
No, I added that. I already included that in my statement.
You think it disappears. You think it disappears.
I already said that you acquired responsibilities that you had to spend time and stress on.
No. You're not phrasing it right. 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 Is a relationship
an abstract thing that doesn't exist that you're not really taking on, or is a relationship a description for those interactions?
You're looking at.
Is a relationship an abstract thing or a description of those that?
I don't care what you're saying. I don't care what you're saying.
Because a relationship is that thing, which means I did include it, which means there's nothing left out of my statement. I didn't leave anything out. You haven't pointed out a thing that I didn't include.
Your interactions even
taking
out.
Part of what I said, rephrasing it, and then saying, this thing that's the same is actually different. And
your interactions. You don't want to hear what I have to say. You don't want to hear me. Your interactions even out. Do we agree?
No, they actually reduce. If you're both giving equally, they go down because of the team effort.
Okay, that's fine. So you've reduced your stress level. So you were more stressed when you were single but now that you're married, you're less stressed. That's what you're.
No, I already said when you're talking about responsibility, you can talk about it in the sense of time and stress. If you want to say that your time is increasing, I'll agree. I mean, if you want to say that your time isn't your the time you have to spend and the responsibilities are increasing, I agree. If you want to say the stress, or I don't agree. Why do I keep saying that? If you want to say that the responsibilities increase and the time increases, I disagree with that. I've already established why that's not true.
I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you're saying. You got to be more specific. What are you saying?
If
the time increases where? Well, give me the phrase.
The time doesn't increase. If you're both giving equally, the time actually should go down. Your responsibilities go down. Your time goes down. Your stress, on the other hand, will probably go up.
Yeah, I'm not worried about all those factors. I'm not worried about all those factors.
That's where we're talking past each other, because I think what you're really referring to is the stress, not the responsibility, the stress.
No, the responsibility of entering that relationship.
No.
When you were in a non-giving relationship, did you was she happy entering that relationship? Should she have been worried about it?
She was happy in the beginning. I mean, my relationships didn't end well, but whatever.
Yeah, well,
they weren't examples of what we're talking about, an equal give, though. If they were giving to me equally, we'd still be together.
Isn't that a concern all the time? If you feel like your reciprocation is not there, don't you get nervous?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an ongoing problem that's going to be in any relationship.
That's stress, right? That's the increased stress that I already agreed and said that
that's arrangement.
I already said you're not. I don't think you're talking about responsibility. I think you're talking about stress.
No, I'm talking about the whole concept of entering a relationship. That's all I'm considering.
Worrying that they're not going to be equal is not the same scenario as we have some. Like if you're with somebody when it's new, you tend to not worry about that as much. Like you're always happier in the beginning. It's the honeymoon stage. The stress doesn't go up then. It comes later when that's over. So
you keep wanting to get into the weeds. It's not where I want to go.
If you get past that point, now your stress is going to increase. I mean, now you're to the point where you're past the honeymoon. So if they have throughout the honeymoon exhibited behavior that is indicative that they're a taker, then you're going to develop a worry about that, right? But if you're the giver, the other person is going to develop an apathy, because they're going to be like, I don't have to worry about that because he's been given way more than I have this whole time. So when we talk about the scenario of an equal relationship, when you're in that, at the end of the honeymoon, there's not going to be worry about that. The added stress doesn't come from that in an equal relationship. The added stress comes from the fear of loss, because
maintaining your standard of giving and reciprocity is a.
Not going to worry about. Why would you? If you've been with the person 10 years and they've always been there for you, why would you worry about it?
Why would I worry about my giving to them? That's what I'm responsible for.
If you have always been there for them, and why would you worry? Okay, again, you're talking. See, we can break that down into responsibility, time, or stress, right?
I'm not worried about breaking it down. Again,
I know you want to
past each other.
Like they're true. You want to say a false vagary like it's true, and when I break it down and show you that it's false,
I'm not worried about all those weeds. That's not my point.
I've already said that there's going to be added stress.
That's not my point.
Because they're not immortal.
That's not my point. That's not my point.
Fear of loss. But if it's an equal relationship, you're not going to fear that you're not giving enough or they're not.
That's not my point.
If you've gone fucking 20 years with the person and that was never a problem, it's not going to all of a sudden become one.
That's not my point.
That's what you said.
No.
You're going to be concerned about if you're going to give enough. I'm worried that I'm going to have to give.
No.
And I'm not going to
be able. I'm not worried about the relationship. Really, we're talking past each other, Outbound. You're talking about the benefits and how it works out if it's done right. I understand. I agree. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about you've entered an arrangement that is a further responsibility to what you have.
The rephrasing of what a relationship is, the time, the stress, the responsibility, the free time, the good time together. That's what a relationship is. It's the same. You're rephrasing the same thing.
I can't escape the truism of that.
Yeah, I know. That's been my point the whole time.
An immature person will stay unmarried. The mature person will get married. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, because the mature person is
not afraid of taking it on, of not taking on the challenge of reciprocity and everything else that goes with it. including sacrifice.
Right.
Including sacrifice. Right. If you end up having kids,
including the benefit. See, notice how you always point out the sacrifice first, and most of the time you don't point out the benefit.
No, I don't mind the benefits. I'm not gonna disregard them.
I'm not talking about if you mind it or not. I said, do you notice you never point it out? Because as soon as you do, it doesn't sound like an added responsibility anymore. As soon as you add that part, it's like, oh shit, I just lost my point.
No, it's stupid. I'm not talking about the particulars in this fucking arrangement that you entered.
You want to be vague.
I'm talking about having entered it. I'm talking about having entered it.
The devil's in the details. That's why you're avoiding the particulars.
No.
Yep. And you want to make a romantic argument.
I agree.
The devil's in the details.
Okay. Let's face the devil.
You don't want to talk about the semantic arguments you're making and why they're false. You don't want to break it down.
Outbound. I'm done with you recharacterizing what I'm doing and condemning it. I don't want to hear you.
I'm done with you. I'm done with you agreeing with my recharacterization.
I haven't condemned anything you say. All I said is we either were talking past or we disagree. I didn't say anything about being dishonest. I didn't say anything about being dishonest.
I said it way in the beginning that we're talking past each other. I told you that I think you're not referring to responsibility. I think you're referring to stress. I've already said that.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about entering
I think you are, and you just don't realize it. You are, and you don't realize it.
When you enter
guys, listen to me, guys. There is the honeymoon stage, okay, which is basically everybody each of the couple is falling for each other. But after the honeymoon phase, there starts the responsibility, taking care of each other, supposedly they are taking care of each other equally. But then the responsibilities add to it, you have a rent, you have household
responsibilities. Add to what?
To the couple, to the life that they share.
You never heard a couple say that a relationship takes work. You never heard anybody say that.
Yeah.
It also reduces work.
Pardon?
It also reduces work.
Okay, but you have heard them say that, right?
Yeah, that's because you have a taker who's not putting the time in.
No.
Yes.
What I said.
If you've got two takers and they're not putting the work in.
Nobody's talking about taking and giving.
If you have a giver and a taker and one's not putting in,
the relationship. That's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
that's your argumentative scenario. That's not what I'm talking about.
A relationship takes work.
Yes, and that is a responsibility.
I don't know why you're telling me that's not what you're saying then.
That's what I'm saying, and that's a responsibility.
Then don't tell me, stop interrupting me to tell me that's not what you're saying if it is what you're saying. Because I'm saying that is what you're saying.
No, you started talking about if he doesn't give, you talked about a taker and a this and a that. It's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's all I said.
I didn't say you brought up the taker.
Well, why are you bringing it up? That's not part of the argument.
You would know if you wouldn't interrupt me.
The statement is a relationship takes work.
You wouldn't argue with the thing we already agree about.
The statement was it takes work for a relationship.
Stop interrupting me to argue about the thing we already agree about. I could get to the point you asked about why I'm saying it. We already agree about that, so why repeat it?
Because there's nothing else to say. There's nothing else to say.
Why did I bring up the taker? You don't know.
I don't know.
You don't know because you interrupted me.
It's not relevant. It's not relevant to my point. It's not relevant to my point. It's going to take work.
How do you know what? How do you know
because
it's relevant?
I already know.
How do you know it's relevant?
A relationship takes work from both parties.
I didn't even finish the fucking statement. I brought up a taker. Would you like to
know that is a taking on of responsibility.
Like to know how it's relevant? because
that's how you take on responsibility. You enter an arrangement like that.
Explain how it's relevant.
I want you to find one psychologist, psychiatrist, counselor, anyone on the planet who says entering a relationship is not taking on further responsibility. I want you to find me somebody that says that.
I never said that myself.
Really?
Never even said that.
Never said that.
Nope. Do you remember what I said in response?
Taking on a relationship is taking on further responsibility.
I totally agree. And what was my
responsibility? Why are we talking about this then?
For the 30th time, do you remember my response?
So you think it's a net result because of what she's giving or what he's giving?
Thank you.
I heard you, you fucking moron.
And why are you repeating it?
It doesn't change that you've acquired further responsibility.
That it does. I didn't say that it does.
So that's my point.
No,
you've taken on more responsibility. That's my point.
But you've also given some up.
Now you're going further into the weeds. That's not my point. Anytime you enter a relationship, an equal relationship, give and take, ideal, wonderful, you've still taken on further responsibility.
You've taken on the one-way street and you ignore the two-way.
I just said, as soon as you enter a relationship that's two-way, you have entered more responsibility.
Then you ignore it. Right after you say it's two-way,
you don't seem to get that concept. And I want you to find a psychiatrist or a psychologist, anyone. I want you to point to any professional that agrees with you.
I already said they would agree with both of us on that statement. Your overall responsibilities should go down. At some given moment in time,
you might make an argument for that somewhere.
At some given moment in time, you may take on some added responsibilities at a given moment in time. But if you're in an overall aggregate equal relationship, then at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the year, you have equaled out the responsibilities.
I understand all that.
And the ones you gave away.
I understand all that. I agree with all that. I agree with all that.
Give them away.
I agree. All right, asshole. That's enough. You look like fucking David.
Why do you always forget that part?
No, I haven't forgotten anything. I keep saying I agree.
Every time you repeat the same thing, I'm going to repeat the same thing.
Outbound, you're not getting it, so just drop it. You're an idiot.
You're not getting it. I heard you the first time.
You agree with my point, but then you try to negate it.
You take on responsibilities.
You agree with my point. You agree with my point, but then you try to dissolve it.
I told you from the beginning I agree with you.
That taking on a relationship is taking on more responsibility.
Yes, especially with Nana.
No, with anyone.
That was the way that I started this conversation.
Wait a minute, that's with anyone. You're taking on more responsibility. I started
the conversation with you by saying, yes, I agree. Getting with Nana would be an increase in responsibility.
No, with anybody. With anyone.
No.
Well, that's where we disagree.
If you have somebody who takes on more of your responsibilities.
No, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about the weeds. We're not talking about the interaction.
Yeah, you think that the weeds are when it becomes a two. See, you say it's a two-way street.
Yeah, right.
But when I describe a two-way street, you call it weeds.
That's not where you have to go, for my point. That's not where you have to go.
Okay, so you can say it's a two-way street, but I can't go there.
I'm just trying to tell you that's the description I'm describing, so we don't have to worry about that part. All I'm saying is once you take on that relationship, you've taken on more responsibility.
You're just repeating the same thing again.
And you agree with it, right?
And what was my response? Yeah,
you agree. That's all. That was my only point.
That's how this whole thing started. I agree with you.
That's my only point.
How this whole thing started. That's
my only point. That's my only point.
The whole thing is I agreed with you that Nana would be taking on extra responsibility.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a concept.
we were talking. Nana said, "Do you want to be my husband?" And you said, "No, I don't want the added responsibility
of entering a relationship, nothing personal against her. Any relationship.
This whole thing
Honestly,
is,
I would be honored, Horatio, to have the extra responsibility.
I already
any
said that I
relationship.
know.
Horatio wouldn't be happy
Said that you
to have
don't.
me as an extra responsibility.
I already said that I know you didn't intend it as an insult or a slight against Nana, but it was an automatic.
Any relationship that you enter is an added responsibility.
It
comes
is.
out
It
of
is.
that assumption. If you
Any
assume
relationship you enter is an added
And why would you say
responsibility.
that I'm an extra responsibility? I'm a giver, by the way.
Any entering a relationship is an added
that's
responsibility.
a taker, Nana. You want everybody to pay your bills and give nothing in return.
Oh, fuck you. You know nothing about me.
All I know is what you tell me.
Yeah, and why would I tell you? Because you are, the taker. You're the one who's dependent on others. Fuck you.
Probably wouldn't tell me because you're a liar.
Yeah, and because you're fucking dependent on other people to better the situation you're in. Fuck
my
you.
own rent. I live by myself. I pay my own rent, and I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I take care of my damn self. I own my own fucking business, so fuck you.
No, fuck you. You're the one who's putting the blame on everybody else except himself.
You told me you don't live. You told me you don't work and you live off your family. So
yeah, and is that your responsibility?
Who doesn't take care?
It is my family's responsibility. You ask.
Huh?
And fuck you. Yeah, it is my family's responsibility. It's not yours. Fuck you. Stop putting the blame on other people, forgetting about yourself. If I was a taker, you're a taker as well. You want to put the blame on other people and want others to take care of you.
I'm taking care of myself, and I fucking pay. I just sent fucking $35 to Stephanie yesterday because she's gonna bounce her account. I take care of me and other people.
I don't see it that way. I see that you're giving because you're looking for more taking, honestly.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's
right. Then he would say, I'm in the extra responsibility. Fuck you, you're not paying me a penny.
I wouldn't pay you because you're a taker. I wouldn't get anything in return.
Even if I was a taker, did I ask you for money or did I ask you for anything?
I want a relationship where there's actually love.
There's no love to begin with, you asshole. It's about people taking opportunities and
I wouldn't do it.
Taking advantage of other people. Fuck love. Nobody gives a fuck about love.
From the very first time you came on to me, I told you.
Even if the relationship started with love, it's gonna end up in misery. This is basically how marriage relationships work. You ask. If yours worked, it wouldn't be that way. Yours started with love, but look how it ended. Fuck this shit. There's no fucking love. There's fucking responsibility, and there's fucking children that is involved with it. Fuck this shit.
If you don't love them, you're not.
Dude, there's no love. I told you, there's no love. It's about the guy.
If you don't love them,
there's the guy who is looking for sexual attraction, and the girl who's looking.
If you don't love them, then you are not going to feel responsible for them at all.
You asshole. You asshole. Some people are obliged to marry. Other people are wanting to have kids. Nobody believes in love except you, you ask. This is why you don't have any relationship that lasted long.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but love is a chemical that's released in your brain, right? It's
a fucking sexual attraction that you released it through your own sperm and her through her fucking.
It's not the same thing. Okay, see, you don't.
It is. Fuck this shit. There's no love. Even if you had love. This is in the honeymoon stage, you ask.
You will never understand because you're a sociopath and you don't understand empathy.
And you're a psychopath asshole.
I didn't say psychopath. I said sociopath. And
you're a psychopath. Yeah, both of us. We're wrong.
I actually have it. See, I feel love. So,
Where? You tell me where.
I mean, it's in your brain.
I don't see any love in your life right now. This is what I'm seeing, honestly, and you're suffering from loneliness, and you just said it yourself.
Why would I give you my love right now? I don't love you.
I'm not asking for your love, you ask. I'm talking about your life.
You just said you don't.
Your love life.
You just said you don't see it. Because I'm not giving. Why would I show you my love? I don't have any love for you.
You ask. Anybody in your life to begin with.
I don't give it to you. What the fuck are you talking about?
Dude, you motherfucker, we're on the internet. Like, there's not even like the concept itself is not even permissible to begin with.
I agree.
Look at
I
this,
agree. I
Julie.
agree.
Like,
This
really
is why I
retarded.
told you. This is why in the beginning, when you were trying to convince me to fly over there and meet you, I
Dude,
said
I was
no.
catfishing you, and you were so you
Why
said
I
it yourself.
said no. When you were
He
coming
was
up,
believing his own shit.
I told you no. You remember that? Remember?
Julie, honestly, like, no, stop this shit. Like, really, do you believe?
Forget your whole
Do you believe in the concept? Like, forget about all the bullshit that we've had.
I'm not talking about love in the sense of some magical universal power that makes two soulmates come together. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a temporary feeling that comes and goes. It's in your head, right?
Yeah.
It feels good. It's a chemical. Yeah. I'm not talking about love in the way that everybody else does.
How would you release that? Isn't it in the sexual attraction that we were just talking about like a minute ago?
That's a different chemical. That's not the same.
Look at this guy.
I don't think so. Is it? Well, no, wait a minute. Maybe you're right.
Tell me. Yeah.
Is the
this
climax...
is how you consummate your marriage. This is how you start a relationship, basically. What the heck, Joey? The attraction itself, wait a second. The infatuation itself, doesn't it start with you being physically attracted to someone?
So you can only love people you've had sex with? Do you not love your mom and dad?
This is what I'm asking you. I don't know. You tell me. You have had your own relationships.
Do you love your mom and dad?
Yes.
Did you have sex with them?
This is no, but threesome.
Okay, then don't tell me that you have to have sex to fall in love.
Listen. Like, there's big difference. You know, you are born with the innate ability to love like your family. It's a big difference. But falling in love with someone, even your own parents, do you think they're really in love with each other? Or is it that they get used to each other? They got used to each other and they completed their life together because they had the children that came up with it.
I don't believe it being... See, when you say in love, that sometimes when people use that phrase, they tend to mean like that one even more. When you say just love, it can mean different. It's easier to... But when you say you're in love, I mean, you're implying even more that there's this overarching power in the universe, right?
I don't believe
I've had times, I remember when I was married, and I had times where I didn't necessarily feel the love, right? But I still had empathy for her, and I still did the right thing, right? I still cared for her well-being. I still did what I could to make sure her life was...
Maybe this called sympathy.
Above what?
You were sympathizing with her own situation.
Right. But
wait, was children involved in this kind of case? Were children like part of it?
Yes and no. I mean, it happened.
How is it? How yes and no? No, basically they're part of it. This is why you were sympathizing. Because she's the mother of your own children. You know how it works? Joey, come on, open up your mind, okay?
Yeah, but I've had the same thing with girls I didn't have kids with.
You cared. Caring is different than loving someone. Caring, it can be out of your caring personality.
Now you want to have a semantic argument. See, when I say the word love, you could like try to understand what I mean by it, and I did explain it, right? And you could accept that when I say love, I mean what I say I mean. Okay, if you want to say that's not love and it's just caring, fine.
Honestly, it is, Joey, because listen, if you
let's talk, love doesn't exist. The superpower thing doesn't. Caring exists. Okay,
it does. Fine. If it was love, you wouldn't like move on so fast. Even for the girls that you weren't even attracted to them, you know.
Fast. I never moved on fast with
like
girls.
It wasn't even love. Listen to it. Like, you know, listen to yourself. Being in a relationship and caring for someone, this can be out of your own nature that you're a caring person, but that doesn't imply that you're loving the person. Would you honestly?
You can't tell me that I moved on fast because I didn't.
Okay, but you did with the short-term kind of relationships.
No, I did not. I did not move on fast.
But did you love them?
They moved on fast. I kept wanting it back. The only ones I moved on fast from were the ones that I didn't develop those feelings for in the first place. I never.
But you cared for him. You cared for him, and you are implying that caring is loving. So you loved them.
I don't care about the semantic arguments. I don't care about which word represents the idea. Can we just talk about the idea? Is it true? Is it not? Who cares what label you put